What's NXT for Johnny Gargano after losing the North American Championship to Velveteen Dream? Who are the final four tag teams in the Dusty Rhodes Classic? And will Mia Yim beat Shayna Baszler? No.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to What's NXT for February 27th, 2019. I am your host, the Rated R reviewer Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight, we got a very mixed bag.
Yeah, we did.
But a very good one. I wouldn't call it great or fantastic, although there were parts of this show that were great and were fantastic.
It was one of those situations where I was walking into this, like, already kind of dreading the main event, because we already knew what the main event was going to be built to be with Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim. But what we ended up getting, like, for the first three matches, were superb.
You know, there was a lot of surprise
Yeah.
in this show. And as I said, a mixed bag. Like, we didn't know what we were going to get for most of it, and we were pretty sure that Shayna Baszler was going to be in the main event. It was the only match that we were told about beforehand. And it's Baszler, and she hasn't wrestled on TV in, like, almost 2 months.
Nope.
So, I mean, other than pay-per-view. But I was looking forward to that match just for Shayna Baszler, but at the same time, I was dreading having to watch a match with Mia Yim.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the end of the show. We get started with Johnny Gargano, and my first question when I hear his music is he going to have a match? No, he is definitely not dressed for a match.
He's just here to let some stuff off his chest after that, we'll just call it earth-shattering defeat they had with the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, he lost his title 3.5 weeks of television time, probably 3.5 days of actual time.
His first defense, his first challenge, and he loses it.
So,
and he makes mention of that in his speech, I guess you can call it, that he does.
And he starts to say, it seems like the only success that he has in NXT is, and then he gets cut off by Tommaso Ciampa's music, which is both frustrating and also at the same time satisfying. Because it feels like he should be saying Tommaso Ciampa, and maybe he was going to say Tommaso Ciampa, but he doesn't get to say it, so we don't know who he was originally going to say. But here comes Ciampa.
Could be very well been his wife.
They kind of went their separate ways, career-wise, like character-wise.
Mm-hmm.
What, 6 or 8 months ago or more? Like, you know, I know she said publicly on, probably in an interview or some shit on NXT. I'm not sure if he did, but they've stated that they, you know, aren't going to be like him going to the ring with her or her going to the ring and balleting for him.
That's just not their style.
They're going to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was back when Candice was going for a title shot, but now it's pretty much stuck on Baszler, and I don't think she's going to get another title shot just yet. But Ciampa comes out, and he basically lays down the storyline.
He just lays down the facts, pretty much.
That the only success that Gargano has is with Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's crazy, but they got the Dusty Rhodes Classic coming up, and if Johnny Gargano wants some gold, maybe they should put back together DIY. He doesn't specifically say DIY, although the crowd does.
The crowd's going bananas for this already.
So he wants to enter the Dusty Rhodes Classic and win the Dusty Rhodes Classic, get a championship match against the War Raiders, and get the championship titles,
and take over New York,
and get some gold around Johnny Gargano's waist again. And it be all because of him and them. He says, no, word for word, we need each other.
Yes. And
it's weird to hear him say that, because it's weird to hear him insinuate that he needs Johnny.
Well, you can't be a tag team with just one person.
True, but he also is the NXT champion.
Yeah. Oh, he just wants a side piece.
Not only did he not get the NXT title with Johnny's help, he did it in spite of Johnny being against him.
Yes.
Granted, he didn't beat Johnny for the belt. He beat Black, but I think he has since beat Johnny in a title defense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tommaso Ciampa, man. He is just brilliant behind the mic. He had a few stutter ups, slip up, but
I think it added more to the moment though, because there was just that uneasiness already between the two of them.
felt more real.
Yeah, it felt more organic.
But who am I to complain about that shit? Do it all the time. Notice all the edits.
Oh yes.
Someday, keep your eye on the screen. You blink, you'll miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to be very good with my editing.
Ciampa just sticks out his hand. Gargano just kind of stands there, puts down the microphone.
No, he drops the mic.
He drops the mic.
Just like, not even respectfully sets down the mic, just whoop, gone.
$50 mic, boom.
Probably a much more expensive mic than $50, I think. It's wireless without that big 90s box at the bottom of it.
65 then.
Plus the logo for NXT. They probably spent $35. This is turned into an episode of The Price is Right.
All right. Long and short of it, the hand gets shook.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that it went that smoothly. I feel like Johnny Gargano should have had some of that brilliant dueling personality facial features going on, where half of him is the evil part that's like, this is a great idea, and half of him is still Johnny superhero.
I think he's overtaken by the fact that he wants gold again, and they felt like he failed this last time, and this is a way of like.
Ciampa calls him on it. He said he offered his help, and Johnny turned him down, and he went out there and did it by himself and failed. But that's what Johnny said. He said it himself. He failed, and even the crowd was chanting. And I thought this was a little tactless.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm a huge fan of the NXT Full Sail crowd, but this was a little tactless. I mean, I know it's brilliant with the storyline and all, but as a person that's been in a crowd, I feel like I wouldn't be kicking a man while he's down when he's still half a babyface.
Yeah.
And I love him to death as a wrestler and a performer.
Johnny Failure.
Johnny Failure. So I guess he's buying into it. I mean, Ciampa is the ultimate puppet master. He's got these strings and he's working Johnny Gargano. And I would not be surprised if they win the tournament but don't win the belts and this breaks them down. And I liked your idea that you had earlier about this leading to another NXT title match at TakeOver New York between Ciampa and Gargano. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. You need Ciampa to face somebody that is not going up to Raw or SmackDown. You put it on Johnny, you're left with the same problem. Somebody needs to take this title to stay in NXT while they're basically getting called up. And you can't really... I mean, you could. We've seen this before with Adam Cole. You could have Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa go for the tag titles in the middle of the card, and then Ciampa still defend the NXT Championship in the main event. You could have that. But I believe you want to have the NXT Championship defended at the NXT TakeOver before Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems to make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they win the tournament. We are going to break down the tournament later because tonight we get the final four picks for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. But we'll get there.
Foreshadowing. He predicted them all last time.
Yeah, I think I had one more team that I predicted in it that didn't show up. But otherwise, yeah, I called all four of these teams to be either put together or just enter into the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yep.
So if that gives me any luck heading into predictions, which we'll be doing next week with Noah Foster.
Yep.
For
Fastlane.
The middle of the road, on the road to WrestleMania. So up next we get an interview backstage with Ricochet, and nod to what we just said is coming up later. He basically talks about dominating on Raw and SmackDown with Aleister Black as a tag team, and he remembers that they still have unfinished business with the Undisputed Era, and what better way to get back at the Undisputed Era than to tag up with Aleister Black, get into the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and at the very least knock them out of it, if not win and go on and become the NXT Tag Team Champions. Don't see it happening. They're getting called up.
Yeah. I was with Ricochet, with him, his promo for a short time until he said, he finally came to realization that if you fought one member of the Undisputed Era, you fought all four. I'm like, I think everybody came to that realization way, way earlier.
Yeah, a long time ago. So, up next we get a shot of Ciampa and Gargano coming out of NXT Full Sail. And who happens to be standing outside of the exit that they're coming out of for no apparent reason, but Candice LeRae.
I thought for sure she was going to come down to the ring and break up the handshake or get in the middle of it before it even happened, but
Absolutely.
she just let this shit unfold, and she had pretty much she doesn't even want to hear what Johnny has to say about it. She goes into full-on girlfriend mode, or actually wife mode. Yeah, she just goes into wife mode. It's like, I don't want to hear it. I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah, he tries to explain something real quick, but she has nothing to do with any of it, and she walks away.
Mm-hmm.
And this is getting good, folks.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'm enjoying this. So, our first match of the night is a women's tag team match. We've got Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah versus Tainara Conchi. I think it's Conchi.
Conchi.
But they've started pronouncing it Conti because that's how it's spelled. I think somebody was listening.
Yeah.
Because I talked about this. If you're going to spell it Conti, it would be nice if it was pronounced Conti. If it's going to be Conchi, spell it with just a C instead of a CH. You know, still give it that that vibe of not being Americanized.
Like that Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa. So, this match was unexpectedly okay.
Yes, it was actually quite impressive. After I got him to stop drooling over Vanessa Bourne, we got some good notes.
For just throwing together a tag team, you've got Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, and they both look just fucking smoking hot.
Mm-hmm.
If for no other reason to watch this match, watch it for that, and especially Vanessa Bourne. She is just killer body, beautiful face. Better in the ring than the last time I saw her, and this isn't just me saying that because she's hot. But still pretty green as fuck, and we see this at the end. I've got a few notes here, but before I get into a mild breakdown of this match, what were your notes? Like, what did you enjoy?
Well, there's one part where Conchi actually caught a leg lock on, I think it was Vanessa Bourne, like going through the ropes. And that was actually pretty inventive. But usually I see something like that on the turnbuckle post, but she's able to pull it off in the ropes. She actually did some posturing and stuff and screams to the crowd and everything afterwards. And naturally they weren't really into it because she's still relatively fresh there. Not many people know really what to do with her yet.
Well, I've got a note about that, and basically she flips over the top rope onto the apron, lands it, and then who was it? Vanessa Bourne goes to kick her through the ropes between the middle and top rope, and she dodges the leg, grabs it, and then applies this knee bar in the ropes, like one that, you know, it doesn't count. It's got to be broken up at a 4 count, but still really cool looking. And then we get something in the corner with fucking Vanessa Bourne doing... It looks like it's supposed to be a submission, but not really because she's laying in forearms. So, like, Conti's in the corner, and Vanessa Bourne is, like, in a position for like a Bronco Buster, but on the middle rope. And then she's just laying in these forearms. And the ref, she goes over there to break it up, and she gives it the 5 count, right? And it's like... At 5, it's a disqualification. Vanessa Bourne can't get out of the ropes at 4. I mean, she's a heel, so she's taking it to 4, but she can't just get out of the ropes. So at the 5 count, instead of disqualifying the match, the ref helps Vanessa Bourne get out of. That's my biggest beef with this match. I'm that was a disqualification. If you can't break it at 5, then break it at 2 so you can get out of there and not be disqualified. I'm just saying.
I was going to say, Conchi and Lee actually look like... Both teams actually look like tag teams together. Whether it be their entrances or whatnot, but at the same time, they still need to... If they're going to continue with this, they need to polish any kind of tag team maneuvers or anything else in that manner.
I disagree. Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah look like a tag team, but Conti and Zaya Lee did not. And basically, Conti started the match, and then Zaya got the hot tag.
Yeah.
They didn't work as a tag team at all. It was one then the other. That was it. And they didn't look like a tag team either, but they still look good. Zaya looked ferocious, man. Just her striking ability is off the chain. And then some of her flipping ability is on point as well. Me using all these new terms.
Yes.
I'm trying, folks. So, the ending comes with Vanessa Bourne has got Xia Li across her knee. Like, she does like a chest or a knee buster into her knee. But she's got her across the knee, and then Aaliyah runs off the ropes, comes in and like goes for a swinging DD or a swinging neck breaker, but she goes the wrong way. She should have gone the other way, where she could have actually come off the knee, but she goes in the direction where the neck breaker takes her into Vanessa Bourne, and she can't go over Vanessa, so she has to go out and over. Lands really awkwardly.
Really awkward.
But they still get the pin with Vanessa Bourne in the ring. I guess, making sure that the previously beaten up Tainara Conti doesn't come in and break up the pin.
Oh, she's sitting on the outside of the ring crying next to the guardrails and whatnot.
Yeah, this was actually a pretty good match, though.
It was a good opening match.
There were spots in it that were just, like I said, they look green, but they're getting better. It's better, surely better than the last outing I've seen out of all of these characters. So up next, we've got an interview outside with Velveteen Dream. He's coming into the building. Doesn't have the title. Doesn't have luggage. Doesn't have nothing. There's all these regular people with those rolling luggage, and you know it because you can hear it on the fucking cobblestone and shit. But he's just walking up, and then they're like, how's it been the last week having the North American Championship? And he's like, what you should really be doing is asking the North American Championship what it's been like the last week being with the Velveteen Dream. And I thought this was both ridiculous and awesome at the same time.
Well, that's Velveteen Dream in general.
My first reaction is just like, oh God, that makes no sense. But at the same time, it's like, for him and his character, never mind. Absolutely, that makes sense.
It's laying
it's beautiful.
It's laying somewhere in a bed, completely satisfied.
But he gets a couple words in, and then what happens? Who comes up? Who interferes?
Adam Cole, baby, and the rest of Undisputed Era.
Yeah. ... The other three. And he's basically chewing out the interviewer / cameraman for being stupid interviewing him when he's got Adam Cole, who's going to soon take away from the North American title from Velveteen Dream.
Velveeta Dream.
Yeah, they called him Velveeta Dream. That was brilliant. And then you've got Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly that are about to win the Dusty Cup, he called it, and then beat the War Raiders to get the tag team titles back. And the whole time I'm sitting here looking at Bobby Fish, who's furthest in the back, all the way to the left, standing there with his pose, and just, he looks so gay. Nothing against gay people, obviously. Everybody knows my dad was gay, but yeah, totally looked gay. Good for you, man. So,
he looked like a fish out of water.
I mean, Velveteen Dream kind of shuts him down.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't care about none of y'all.
I've
got my title. I'm gonna go this way.
He's literally talking down to them because he's like a foot taller.
Foot taller than all four of them. Shit, he's taller than all four of them combined. He looks like two of them stacked up in a trench coat.
It's like the four of them each combined. It's like a fucking Voltron type character.
So let's see. Up next, we've got Kathy Kelly outside of William Regal's office, reminding us that the final four teams in the Dusty Rhodes Classic are going to be announced tonight. And while she's saying all of this, we hear an argument. So she's got to run down the hallway with the camera. At least this gives us like an organic, a natural reason to have the camera turned on in the back to catch something that normally wouldn't be set up. In this case, an argument.
They're really good at that.
Bianca Belair and Io
Io
Shirai. And there just happened to be... Why was there a ref there?
There wasn't a ref.
There was no... I thought there was a ref there breaking it up.
Oh, yeah, there was a ref breaking them up, and I think it's Perazo came into
No, it wasn't Perazo, was it? It was Deeb, Serena Deeb.
She looks so much like Perazo.
Maybe it was Perazo. I don't know. I'm used to seeing Serena Deeb with no hair.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say she used to have the shortcut when she was in OVW.
I'm pretty sure it was Serena Deeb, though. Comes in and pulls Bianca Belair off and ushers her away. But yeah, there was a ref there, like keeping him Like, do refs just hang out? They are the backstage security.
Yep.
They keep the wrestlers from beating each other up when they're not in the ring. And then doing it the proper way when they are in the ring. So, up next is our second match of the evening. Only 3 matches, but I was okay with this.
Yeah.
In this case, we've got Donovan Dijakovic. Donovan Dijakovic versus Keith Lee. They announced this match earlier in the show, and we don't review all of it. Like, I'm not going to put down an announcement for a match during the same show when I'm just going to talk about the match later.
Yeah.
But when they dropped that announcement, I was like, what?
I was already stoked because they teased this at the Worlds Collide tournament, and I'm like, oh my god, this would be such a great match. And I was like, man, this could even be takeover worthy if they actually did it right. And
I think it's gonna be, because this was a great match.
It was fantastic
with a non-finish that happened to be for us and
brilliant.
And our minds looking forward and hoping to where they're going with this. There's a couple of different ways we'll get there. Fucking awesome. This was an awesome ending, even though it was a non-finish. It's television. It's okay. It's not a. It's
because there are so many fucking spots in this match.
Oh, so they're just trading moves here at the beginning where nobody gets a move, dodging and whatnot, flipping over, running off the ropes.
They even make note the fact that these two have faced off against each other in a whole bunch of different companies, but not here in NXT. So it's already got that Dolly and Kenny kind of vibe to it. These two know each other.
So Keith Lee goes for hip toss, and Dijakovic fucking flips over and lands on his feet. And at this point, Keith Lee is impressed.
Yes.
Because you're talking about a big guy, but not in the same way. Like, Keith Lee's big, but he's considerably shorter than Dijakovic. But Dijakovic's like 8 foot fucking tall.
6'7", 290 pounds.
And so Keith Lee goes for the sign of respect. He goes for the handshake. And Dijakovic looks at it for a minute, and I'm just screaming. I'm screaming at the TV.
Slap him!
Slap him! Do not shake his fucking hand. You're a fucking heel. Don't fucking. And sure enough, he pushes him away, and I think he goes to like paintbrush his face.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily slap, but Keith Lee takes exception, and this is where the match picks up. Keith Lee goes for a pop up here, gets him in a fucking power bomb, but then Dijakovic counters and turns it into a monkey flip, but Keith Lee lands on his feet, and I'm just like...
And Dijakovic is just sitting there completely stunned. He's not even looking behind him, and he knows Keith Lee landed on his feet. It was such an awesome shot. I loved it.
Okay, and then we see fucking Keith Lee with just some wicked-ass strikes. I mean, every one of them you could hear throughout the arena.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I mean, Dijakovic had some what looked like hard strikes, but they didn't sound or look nearly like what Keith Lee was doing. He hit this super kick at one point that I was just like cringing. It hurt me just looking at it. Let's see what else we got here. We had Donovan Dijak lift up Keith Lee for a choke slam that he sits out into a bomb.
Yes.
Wow. Because we were talking about before this match, is Dijakovic going to be able to get him up into the Feast Your Eyes? The Feast Your Eyes. I love it. I'm starting to really dig.
It's growing on me too.
I know he's Dijakoff and all that, but like still though, like I'm digging this.
The man knows what he's doing in there, and it's awesome.
I love the fact that just a few months ago we were sitting here pondering about the intro videos, the video packages he was get before his re-debut with this new name, and we're just like,
this gonna suck.
Just thinking, and man, this is what you do. This is how you bring somebody aboard and turn them into a star, unlike what they do on Raw and SmackDown when they bring NXT stars up. Just saying. So we've got Keith Lee countering a middle rope elbow. This is the second time that Dominic goes up for this move. First time he lands it right to the top of the head. This time I'm like, went to the well too many times, is going to get countered. Keith Lee slaps him out of the air, and then what does he hit? A fucking standing, you called it,
standing low down with one hand.
Single-handedly picks him up with his palm and his sternum, and I guess his hand on his back, picks him up and throws him down.
Yes.
And we thought this might be a pinfall, but I called kick out. Sure enough, kick out.
Anybody else that would have been a pinfall on, but yeah.
Somehow we end up with Keith Lee on the apron and Donovan Dijak in the ring. And he's trying to fight away from Keith Lee because Keith Lee's got him wrapped up. So he gets a couple elbows, gets off, runs the ropes, comes back, does a discus big boot to Keith Lee, sending him to the floor, and then gets out on the apron and jumps up on the middle rope and does a fucking moonsault onto Keith Lee onto the outside, lands on the ramp, bangs his head on the ramp, and these two don't make it back in the ring.
No.
Not from that. They get the 10 count. They look like they might have one last gasp at 9 to jump into the ring, but neither one of them could do it.
Keith Lee has this look on his face like, oh, you son of a bitch.
This, though, was a great match. Normally, I don't say that for something that's A, so short, and B, a non-finish.
Yeah, but we also skipped over the pounce. Like that.
Oh yeah, where was that? That was when I mentioned Lee with all those wicked strikes.
Yeah.
And that super kick.
Nails him with a pounce into the corner and like just turns him inside out. Man, it was just so great.
Just said on commentary, more pounce for the ounce. Just great. Any last thoughts about this match?
What we initially were thinking was, okay, they're going to. Like Regal's gonna say these two are work well in the ring together. Let's see how they work as a tag team and put them into a tournament. We don't get that, but this also means it sets up for another match between the two, which yours truly here wouldn't mind having a 2 out of 3 falls match for them. Because granted that match was a little bit short. If they got more time and got to there wasn't really so much restraint on. There could be a count out,
Plus, if there was a double count out, that would be 1 fall apiece.
Yeah.
And then next fall wins.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Plays right into the storyline. We don't have to necessarily go straight to the no count out rule or falls count anywhere, anything that looks like it's obvious.
Because I was about to say, what they showed tonight was just vicious, and it was great. It was just good television.
I can't wait to see these guys in a 15 or 20 minute match.
It was first time. It was first time in a while that we've seen really great match out of Keith Lee.
Now, speaking of tag teams, and as we alluded to, we are now going to find out the last 4 teams for the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and no, it is not Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. Oh well.
We still get 4 great teams.
We get Ricochet and Aleister Black, as they insinuated earlier. There's a different word for alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Called it. DIY, called it. Mustache Mountain, called it. I think I called one other option, but I can't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. So, our bracketology is going to break down like this. On the left, you've got Mustache Mountain versus the Street Profits. You've got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Forgotten Sons. And that is Cutler and Blake.
Yep.
We've got on the other side, the right side, we've got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Undisputed Era. That's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
That's going to be an excellent match.
And we've got Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel.
Keep in mind, these matches that we're getting are just going to be on NXT television.
Yeah, right?
I mean, these are, each match sounds like it'd be, I'm going to say what I say, takeover worthy, and we're getting them, a week at a time, if not maybe 2 of them a night.
All right, so I drew out my bracket here. It is time to do our predictions.
Okay.
Between Mustache Mountain and Street Profits, I got to go with Street Profits.
You actually think the Profits are going to pull it off?
This is NXT, not NXT UK. I got to go with my fucking Street Profits, man. Who you going with?
I want to go to Street Profits too, but I'm going to go with Mustache Mountain. I think it's going to be their there's going to be their redemption for losing in the tag title tournament over there, but they're ultimately not going to win the tournament.
All right, so Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Forgotten Sons.
I think they're going to give it to Forgotten Sons.
going with Forgotten Sons.
Even though they really don't deserve it, they're seemingly trying to push them down our throats at this point. And if Jackson Riker's out there, he's going to have some sort of play into it.
I'm going to agree with you, Forgotten Sons, on that one. In the other bracket, we've got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly of the Undisputed Era.
Which is weird because those are two teams I probably would have picked to be, like, one of those two teams to actually pick to be the winners of the tournament in general. But I think we're going to go with DIY on that one.
Going DIY. Gargano and Ciampa. I'm going to agree with you, Gargano and Ciampa. So we've got, in the next one, Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Eichner and Bartel.
I'm going to love saying this. Eichner and Bartel. I think they're going to pull off the upset on Aleister Black and Ricochet.
I think so as well. So, we are agreeing on everything except the first bracket.
Yep.
So let's go down to that one.
Or do you want to do that next bracket after we get the semifinal matches?
No, let's do it now.
Oh, cool.
So for you, it's going to be Mustache Mountain versus the Forgotten Sons. Who are you going with?
Mustache Mountain.
And for me, that puts the Street Profits versus the Forgotten Sons. I'm going Street Profits. And so on the other side, we've got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Eichner and Bartel. I think we can both agree here.
DIY.
So Gargano and Ciampa. So in the finals, we've got for me the Street Profits versus Gargano and Ciampa. I'm going Gargano and Ciampa to win it all. And for you, it's Mustache Mountain versus
Mustache Mountain.
You're going with Mustache Mountain to win it all?
Yes. I'm gonna say that because Gargano and Ciampa are gonna lose, and that's gonna set up the match for them at Takeover.
So you're thinking Mustache Mountain loses in this opportunity for a tag team championship, and it pushes them further down the rabbit hole of breaking up?
Yeah.
That's a good storyline. I like that. I almost feel like changing my prediction. I'm not gonna. I think you're right, though. Maybe Gargano and Ciampa don't win the cup. That's where they break up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
those are our predictions for that so far. Well, so we'll see how that goes out.
Up next, we've got a tweet by William Regal, and this basically comes off of the argument we saw in the back earlier. Io Shirai is going to face Bianca Belair in 2 weeks, and the winner will face Shayna Baszler at NXT TakeOver New York.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we see Io Shirai coming out on top here.
Yep. Oh, I was about to say, Io Shirai is going to win that match unless they somehow decide they're going to make it a triple threat match between the two of them and Shayna Baszler.
That would be nice.
That would be a great match, I think. You have a whole bunch of different styles in that ring. You have submission, you have your high flying, and then you also have your strength in Bianca Belair. That'd be all three. All three of them would be that'd be a perfect match. I can't believe I didn't think about that until now.
So before our main event match, we get a promo spot, an in-ring promo, and we get this instead, I guess, of a fourth match for the night. But I'm okay with this because who comes out? And we knew this because it was on the fucking picture on the WWE Network for the episode before we watched. They spoiled it. We knew it was coming, and he reminded me because I'm like, "Are we going to get another match before the main event?" He's like, "No, this is what we're getting. We get Sasha Banks and Bayley."
Yep, coming back home to more or less thank the people and to tell them they're going to be back and probably defending those belts.
He said hopefully the next time they are on NXT will be to defend the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship.
And you can bank on that.
Yep. And I have those notes right there, those words, and then just on their way to the ring, apparently Bayley hugs a famous fan named Izzy and makes her cry. So I'm like, some babyface, you are making kids cry. just. So our main event is Mia Yim versus Shayna Baszler, and I literally have no notes for this at all.
Well, I got a tornado DDT out of Mia Yim, which is quite possibly the best thing I've actually ever seen out of her. and the Baszler stomp to Mia Yim's surgically repaired right leg.
Yeah. So the reason I didn't take any notes for this match is because I didn't feel like I needed them. Like, this was a really good match, especially out of Mia Yim, who we have not been so hot on the last several weeks.
Sorry, not sorry.
But Baszler more than made up for it. So towards the beginning of this match, Baszler kind of goes for ground and pound on Mia Yim, and Mia dodges a punch thrown, and Baszler hits the mat.
Oh, yeah, the mat, yeah.
And so this starts her right hand getting worked on. But then early on in the match, they're on the outside, and Mia Yim is trying to work over Shayna's arm on the steps, and she goes to run in and kick her arm, and Baszler gets out of the way, and Yim kicks the ring steps with her foot and her leg. And this starts over Shayna Baszler working over Mia Yim's previously surgically repaired. It was broken like a year ago. Her right leg. And there's your story of the match. And like you said, yeah, she did the Baszler stomp, which normally we'd see on the elbow with an opponent like this. She does it on her foot and like stomps her ankle sideways. Like, it's friggin' awesome.
I was cool with it, and I thought it was gonna look great until Mia Yim started screaming, "Don't you do it! Don't you do it!" As if like Shayna Baszler was just gonna change her mind.
Yeah, and there's a spot in there where Mia Yim is calling for Baszler to do her knee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you never do it then. Because,
No.
yeah, she dodges out of the way and goes for a roll-up. Doesn't get the pin. But I don't think we saw Shayna Baszler's knee in this match, but we did see...
We saw a quick knee at the end, but it just wasn't that running one.
We did see that new move. She's got that gut wrench into... It's like a tilt-a-whirl gut wrench bomb.
Yeah.
Or
Almost like
side
flapjack almost, because like she completely flips her just right onto her front.
Just gut wrench and then over and then, yeah, inverted sidewalk slam, something like that. This was a good match. Baszler locks on the Baszler lock kind of early, and we knew it wasn't at the end of the match. And the way, of course, Mia Yim gets out of it, that right arm, so she goes and breaks it off. The next time we see the Baszler lock, I think after that brief knee, was not so successful because Baszler ends up grapevining Mia Yim's arms to her body so that she can't reach up to counter it.
Brilliant.
And yeah, the next thing you know, she's tapping against Shayna's feet, and we knew she was going to lose.
Okay.
Just
no post-match beatdown. No Jessamine Duke, no Maria Shafir, just Baszler standing triumphantly and just trash talking in the ring.
Yeah, I was super glad that Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir did
I'm
not come
glad
out
they
for
didn't
this
come
match.
either, because that last week had me so pissed off at Baszler because it was making her look weak, and this actually, granted, it wasn't the best opponent. Sorry again, but
Sorry, not sorry, right?
Pretty much, but at the same time, Mia Yim actually put on a good match, and
Best match out of Mia Yim that I've seen.
Yeah.
Even if it is just because Shayna Baszler is that awesome.
Well, I was about to say, sometimes it just takes the talent like Shayna Baszler to carry someone in a match, or even like make it look passable. And she pulled it off with this one. I was not disappointed with this match.
All three matches on this show were good, if not great. Definitely Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic was great.
I kind of
With
wish.
it's so weird.
I kind of wish we were rating that one, but at the
we are
same
not.
time, we're not.
Around these parts, we rate the main event of the show using the General's 5-star rating system, and you always go first, sir. So, Jerry, how many stars out of 5 do you give this main event?
Okay, it was a non-title match. We knew that going in, but at the same time, we knew Mia Yim was going to win the fucking title anyway. But so there's that predictability already there. The fact that Mia Yim is not going to win the match. I don't like predictability in my matches, even if it's something as simple as that. So take away a couple stars for that naturally, and the fact that I was about to say, I saw a lot more out of Mia Yim in this match. I'm hoping she'll actually stay on this role and hopefully get a better gimmick. And, like, maybe actually, like, you know, just brush up a little bit more. Because the tornado DDT she actually did through the ropes, that stuck out to me. Especially the fact that she showed that she was still favoring the right leg by just coming off with the left. So I'm going to go middle of the road this one. I'm going to give it a 3. Because Shayna Baszler did a great job in the match. And
There were some good spots in this match, though. I mean, fucking Mia Yim, even with the bum leg, hit
Yeah.
a fucking Batista bomb.
Yeah.
Granted, she didn't get the pinfall for it, but it was fucking awesome looking, and
But-
I did
but-
not expect that.
But the fact that she was hamming up a little, so much in the match kind of took me out a couple times. And that's why I gave it a 3.
Okay, look, I agree with you that there was no suspense here. You know, I didn't think that Mia Yim was going to win,
No.
but I'm not opposed to that per se in this instance. In instances like it, the reason that I knew Mia Yim wasn't going to win, and it was almost like a spoiler, is because Shayna Baszler is that fucking bad.
Yes.
She is that awesome that she's not going to beat Shayna Baszler.
She is
of course.
female Samoa Joe.
But this was a surprise to me because it was a much better match, even out of Mia Yim, than I thought it was going to be. Even take away Shayna Baszler, and Mia Yim still looked pretty good in this match.
I was about to say, she actually, like, at one point I was like, is she having more problems with Mia Yim than Bianca Belair at this point?
We had the WWE Tag Team Champion, or Women's Tag Team Championships on here. We had DIY Reform and the fallout with Candice LeRae.
Oh,
This comes off of a
really good show.
I was going to give this a 3.25. I'm going to go with a 3.5 stars. Like this was a really good show.
It was a good NXT
And-
show.
And despite what I thought it was going to be, ended up being a really good main event.
Yeah.
So I'm going 3.5. And that brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT. Thank you guys for joining us. Tomorrow we will have our weekly episode of the NXT party where we review NXT UK. And if you'd like to be up on the big screen and help us review NXT UK, have a spot of NXT with us. We'd like you to join us. You can find me on Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. And you can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQ General, and also in my Facebook group Armbar. All capital ARMBAR exclamation point.
Yeah.
Just find us on there. We'll get you added. Lots of memes, lots of discussions. Just great people. Love the people in there.
Yeah, and if you don't have Twitter, if you don't have Facebook, and you still want to be on the screen and have a spot of NXT with us,
Smoke signals.
leave us a comment down below and let us know how we can get a hold of you. Email works just fine. Also down below is the like button. If you like this video, you should click the like button. And if you like all of our videos, you should click the subscribe button that's underneath Jerry over there. And if you want to get these videos about 12 hours early, you can subscribe to our channel. That's Aftermatch Wrestling, all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling. And if we get to 100 subscribers, we are going to start doing these shows live.
And you'll see how awkward we truly are.
Yes, and we'll test our skills to not have to edit or be able to edit for real. And it will also test my internet connection when we do NXT UK. We have a Skype call up here. Yeah, we had a problem with that last week. That was fun, but we overcame. That's what hotspotting is for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to start doing the shows live. To help us get to 100 subscribers, we are now offering exclusive content. We've had a few weeks with the Rated R Rapport, and we will be doing that tonight with Cindy G up on the big screen. We're going to have a little discussion about some things, but you'll have to tune in for that. So, for the General, Jerry Slaughter, I am, of course, the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne, and we will see you guys NXT time.